Like I said, you're giving Robert Amerman more power, and programming is one of them. I recommend that you take the power away from Mr. Amerman. He's chronically lied to me. He's chronically manipulated what he says to me. He took the Busky on scene tape, which was turned in last week on time, and refused to put it on the schedule this week. He's just not the guy for the job, if you ask me. He's very deceptive every time I talk to him, every time Sydney talks to him, and I wonder if he's deceptive to other people as well. You should definitely take the programming out of his hands, because he, for one, is not a producer, and he's not familiar with it, and the way he handles the tea, the media tea, he's chronically leaving black screens, blue screens. Right after he aired one of our shows 2 weeks ago, there was 2 hours of black screen. So I don't know if he's overworked or just not bright enough to take on all the tasks, but he's got a lot of problems, and it's mostly personal problems. And you'll see it more formally written up. You know, that's going to happen, but...
We would like to know
why he didn't put Busky on.
Not put on the schedule. According to the cable regs, it's supposed to air at least 4 times, and to our knowledge, it aired only once. And the cable cast request form, the show, was turned in on time, and we were told it was going to be scheduled for Saturday at 8 p.m.
The board will respond to oral communications at the close of oral communications. We are out of tape at this point. Are there other oral communications? Doug?
Can Rob tell us why he didn't put the Busky tape on?
That's at Rob's discretion. Are there other oral communications? David?
Yes, I'd like to read this letter that I wrote.
We're not reading a long letter at this point. We're out of tape. Do you have a brief comment?
Okay. What does tape have to do with a meeting?
This meeting is lasting 2 hours. We're already 5 minutes over.
Your policy's a little flawed.
I'm not interested. Okay. So, is there any board member who cares to respond to any comments made?
You don't want to hear what I have to say then, right?
Well, I can close this meeting in 2 hours and I'm doing it.
He can summarize his comments. He should be allowed to make the comments.
Would any board member care to comment to any of the oral communications?
Free speech. Don't step on the First Amendment. That's my comment.
I don't. You're not letting him speak.
It's okay. This meeting is adjourned.
And impeach Roland Yartzoff. Please.
Yartzoff. Yartzoff.
Oh, I know. Because he's abused his power and he is not a fair individual.
I lost your number.
Yeah, I should show you what things are going on. I don't really well.
Well, I'm going to help
No.
Did you get that? Have you checked your email? Well, I have been talking about something.
For example, I was going to go get dinner at Rico's.
Does that have anything to do with this?
We hasn't started, but I think
$6 an hour.
Any comments, Dave?
Yeah, I just like to say that Bobby Seale and I have quite a bit in common because I was gagged at this meeting. I didn't have a chance to respond correctly. He asked if I had any public comments to make. I went to go read a statement that I had prepared, very timely, and he decided to say, no, we're not going to hear a long, lengthy letter. Well, 1-page letter is lengthy. I think I had some important things to say, and I think that this board has shown a flagrant disregard of the public comments and of.
Rob himself. Rob, would you like to comment on why the Busky group tape was not put on?
no.
Why not?
No.
Why don't you tell everybody, Rob? Why wasn't it put on, Rob? Why wasn't it put on, Rob? Come on, the public's waiting. You're a star. You're a star, Rob. Come on. Tell us all, man.
I was standing right over behind where Doug and Sydney are seated now, getting one table, and I was right next to Rob, and Doug was pointing his camera and was less than 2 feet away, but I was standing kind of behind Doug, so it'd be hard for me to say less than a foot because of my angle, but for sure way less than 2 feet, and was saying repeatedly something to the effect, why won't you broadcast the show, Rob? What's the deal, Rob? What's the deal, Rob? And I thought it was a terribly physically intimidating thing to do. I thought about for a moment saying something, but specifically the reason I didn't is because my personal opinion was Rob was handling it well, and I didn't think I could handle it as well if the camera was turned on me, so I just, for the matters let matters be, and I thought Rob did a good job with it. It was just, for me, it was a very intimidating thing. It was thrusting the camera at him and repeatedly asking the question in a fairly aggressive way.
I also wrote the letter. I was sitting here, and immediately after the meeting, Rob got up to move chairs, and I believe you were pretty much in his face at that point. I would say within a foot of his face, questioning him in a very aggressive manner, and I believe trying to create a confrontational situation. He was really good, and he stepped around you, but he did have to go around you, put the chair away. You turned and followed him and repeated, I believe, the same questioning, and he again had to go around you to come back. I saw him have to go around you 3 times to avoid your confrontation, and I feel that that is harassment.
And I also viewed about pretty much the same thing the last 2 board members, but I was on Doug's left shoulder, and camera was on his shoulder, and he charged towards Rob. Of course, Rob's moving the chairs towards the other direction, and he kind of pinned him about right there where Doug's sitting right now with the camera in his face. And I turned it closer than 2 feet. I turned it mere millimeters because from my angle it appeared that it was that close. It may have been a little bit farther, but when you get in somebody's face with a camera and you're not really a journalist, you're a ACAT producer, I thought that first of all that Rob handled the situation better than I sure could have. I've been known to have another avenue, and somebody did that to me, and I got to commend him for what happened, you know, as far as how he dealt with it. But Doug was like totally confrontational with his, "What's the matter, Rob? Don't you have anything to say to the camera? Come on, Rob. Don't you have a statement for us, Rob? What's the matter, Rob? Don't have anything to say?" And it was
Is that a direct
totally
quote?
uncalled for. Am I into questions here?
I'm asking, is that a quote?
No, it's not appropriate for you to question. Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, I have many questions, and I
Well, that
intend
can
to
happen.
ask them.
That can happen later. But first, we're going to present evidence, and you'll have a chance to question the witnesses specifically, not other board members.
Pretty much for his comment over and over. I heard him at least 3 times, similar to what's been mentioned here. Putting his camera in Rob's face, and actually when I was putting away one of the tables, I kind of stepped over and he just got around me to keep going at Rob. So, I mean, that's just inappropriate. That's how I feel about it.
Rob, what was your experience?
Much like the board described, and I don't think I would have thought much of it just because my action was trying to just ignore what was going on. But since the board made it an issue, and I don't think I would have thought much of it just because my action was trying to just ignore what was going on. But since the board made it an issue, made it an issue, you know, it made me feel good that the board was concerned about my welfare. So I'm thankful for that. And yeah, I did feel intimidated and harassed.